So I thought I'd do a quick video to thank 500 of you crazy bastards who've subscribed to my YouTube channel. I never thought I'd reach this point, but I'm really happy that I have, so thank you guys, like all of you, who tune in to see my really long, really detailed, long-winded reviews. So thank you. And I'd like to take this time to talk about why I actually got started with this whole thing, and when, and what was my motivation behind it, and what I'm going to do in the future, among other things. So, if you go back into my YouTube history, you'll see a lot of things. You'll see like gameplay videos, you'll see League of Legends videos, you'll see song covers, you'll see an old guitar playing video I made back in 2010. It's just a bunch of random stuff, right? I didn't decide on doing reviews until earlier this year, around I think February. I started in March, but February I was thinking about it. The reason was I personally love watching reviews on YouTube. If there's anything I want to buy, any little small tiny thing, like let's say a USB fan even, I will go check out a video and see if this what the person says about it, how it looks, what the form factor is, how it looks on a desk, that whole kind of thing. I want it to be like that and talk about stuff that I have. Because I do have, well, I used to have more, but I still have, a bit of stuff that I like to talk about. So my first video was on the ZMF Vibro Mark 1 Planar Magnetic headphones. The reason I chose to start at that point was because there was only one video on YouTube regarding the Vibro, and that was by Metal 571 or 751. He was talking about it, and I watched that, and I thought that's good, that's really nice, but I wish there was more out there regarding in video form, because I knew there were like reviews on HeadFi and stuff like that in written form, but I wanted there to be more videos about ZMF, the ZMF Vibro, because I thought they sounded great. I wanted my own opinions to be out there, so I made that first video. And the way I went about making it was I was kind of nervous, so I took like a post-it book like this and just like filled it up full of notes. Had a bunch of notes with me, and I kept peering over at them as I was recording. Turned out it took a lot more takes to do that. Like I kept getting distracted. So by the second review, which was the Beyerdynamic DT1350, I said screw the notes. I'm just gonna speak my mind, and that is why I keep going over time so many times. So yeah, I like filming things in one take and trying to remember things in all. If a video goes on for longer than 20 minutes, that's because my Samsung Galaxy S6 right up there, which is being used to film this, it chops up videos in 20-minute form intervals. So then I have to join them together and then create, but it's still all done in one take, usually. So as I went from there, I got some encouragements from some friends. I got some encouragement, I got some new ideas, and I found some new products I really wanted to talk about. A turning point will probably be the review for the VE Monk, the first one, not the Monk Plus. I did that, and Lee from VE, him and I got to talking, and he said, "Thanks for your review, man. We have the Monk Plus coming out. Would you like to take a look at that?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." I checked it out, and I was really impressed at what could be accomplished with that. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to talk about this. This is going to be my next video, and I did it. And to this point right now, it's probably my video with the most views. So when I saw that happen, like, I just exploded. I thought, well, I guess people do want to hear what I want to say, so I should continue. So what I've been doing is I've been going on HeadFi for sale forums, buying stuff secondhand, reviewing them, and then if I like them a lot, I'll keep them or I'll sell them. Examples of this are like the THX100 by Fostex and Mosdrop, the Mosdrop AKG K7XX, which I bought and sold, the Cherry Omni, which I bought, listened to for a few months, then I sold recently, and I got myself a Cocobolo Omni, which I've kept instead because it has slightly deeper sub bass and all that. I have a comparison video from before I sold the Cherry Omni about that. So I had all these ideas and just reviews you know, when I went to CanJam, I saw that wow, there's a whole other level of stuff out there that I haven't even thought about talking about. Stuff like IEMs. I haven't really talked about many IEMs. I've talked about the Carbo Tenore and the Carbo Basso and Show Z0, which are three inexpensive IEMs. They're not really high end or like the super detailed things that the IEM lovers like. So I like to be exposed to that a bit more. Because right now I've been focusing on full size headphones mainly because that's been my forte. So why have full size headphones been my forte? Well, the reason is way back in like 2000 and I'd say 2006, 2007 or 8, my friend Saad from back in my home country Pakistan, he got an HD 650 by Sennheiser. And I listened to it and I thought, wow, that is incredible sounding. And I looked at a headphone amplifier that he had and I thought, you need a headphone amplifier for that? That's crazy. But I didn't buy myself a full size headphone until 2012, the end of 2012. I went to America, New York specifically, to study journalism from 2007 to 2012. In those years, I remember I started getting really much into audio, like just at a small level. Like I got myself a pair of Klipsch Pro Media 2.1 speakers with a huge subwoofer. I thought it sounded great. I thought it sounded really nice for my computer speakers for my dorm room. So I listened to that. Then I started getting into like higher, like lossless audio, and further on, like I started getting myself away from MP3s. Like I'd hear a 128 kilobytes per second MP3, I'd be like, oh, that doesn't sound so good. Then I move on to like you know how it goes. You know the journey, guys. So the headphone I used the most while I was in America was actually a SteelSeries 7H gaming headset, connected by USB, which had a little USB sound card on it. So I used that the most. And the sound it was actually better than any other headphones besides the HD650 that I had been exposed to at that point. So I used that for many years. It wasn't until I was leaving America where I thought to myself, well, I'm going back to my home country. It's harder to buy audio stuff there. I should get myself something before I go so that I can listen to it back at home. So I got myself, after doing some research, I had all these terms I was looking at. Like, what does this mean? What does that mean? I want something with bass, right? Because, bass and all that. So I was looking at full-size headphones with bass. They said the HD600 doesn't have that much bass. I was like, okay, I won't look at that. HD650 has a good amount of bass. Okay, that's fine. But then I looked at something called the DT990. And I thought, wow, those look cool. The whole aluminium look. It looks like it's really comfortable, which it was. And it has this it says it's V-shape, meaning it emphasizes the bass a bit. Alright, I'll go for that. So I bought a DT990 brand new from Amazon. And to power it, I bought myself an E12 by Fiio and an E09K by Fiio. So the E12 was like a DAC headphone amplifier combo. I can't have to look this up again. But the E09K was basically a headphone amp. Like this big, with a little wheel on it. So I used that basically. Then I went back to Pakistan, my home country, and the E12 failed on me within like a month. What happened was that you'd have like the E09K, right? It had a slot on the top where you just put the E12 and it would act like the DAC. So it would be like this two-part thing. The E12 failed on me. I couldn't use it as a DAC anymore because what happened was I'd be charging it and it would say it's fully charged, but then it would play like for like 10 minutes and then suddenly it would jump to one slot of battery, then it would just die. So I contacted Fiio in China. I'm like, yo guys, my thing has a problem. And they said, oh, it's probably your battery. We're going to send you a new one. So they sent me a new one and that didn't help either. It was something wrong with the inside mechanism or whatever. So then I said, okay, I'm going to have to get something else now. So the way you get things in Pakistan is a bit difficult because you have to rely on family members to bring stuff from abroad. So my aunt was visiting in May. So I remember the shit Asgard 2 had just been released. And I had done a little bit of research and I thought, that is the amp I want. Okay, that is the amp I want in a price range that I can afford. But I need a DAC, so I get that shit muddy DAC because I didn't really know what DACs were. I knew it separated the sound from the computer. So I thought, yeah, that's what I want basically, right? That's really what I want. So I went ahead and I had a Muddy and a shit Asgard arrive in her luggage. I went upstairs and plugged it in, and my god, my mind was blown compared to what I had before, the E09K and the E12. My mind was absolutely blown. I just sat in my room listening to music for hours and hours. It was everything I threw at it. It was like my DT990 had become transformed. And I was like, this is amazing. So for the next year or so, I listened to that combination. Along the way, I got myself a Gradio SR80i back when they were making them too, by a friend who was visiting Pakistan. So I went ahead and got these things, right? But the DT990, I remember feeling fatigued by it. Over time, when the wow factor began to diminish, I used to find myself thinking, this is a little fatiguing. Then I looked it up online. I'm like, why does it do this? So I went on R Headphones and I read people's impressions of the DT990, and they were all saying stuff like, yeah, it's nice, but it gets so sibilant though. So I looked up this word, sibilant. What does that mean? So high treble, piercing treble. Then I'm like, oh, okay. So I looked up ways to EQ it. It helped a little bit, but it wasn't so good. It wasn't so pleasing though. Fast forward another year, I was in Brussels. I was pursuing a master's. It didn't work out, but I was in Brussels for a while. And I thought, well, now that I'm here, I should maybe buy another pair of headphones, right? Something that suits me a little more. Looked up some reviews. People love the HD600. Some people call it the stepping stone into high-end audio. They say you buy Beats first. Then you're like, okay, Beats kind of suck actually. People are saying that. Then you buy the ATH M50X. Okay, which I also bought, also when I was in Brussels. I bought that, and 3 weeks later I bought myself an HD600, which is what people say is the usual jump. I'm stereotyping and generalizing, but I'm just saying. I jumped to the HD600 and I plugged it in and I was like, wow, what is that sound? The vocals sound so great, it's so nice, so warm, so liquidy, just so pronounced compared to the DT990 that I have had for so long. Then I realized what V-shape really was. You lose out on the mids. I wanted those mids from then on. So that pretty much set my preferences from then on. I don't prefer V-shaped headphones so much, which is why I sold the THX100. So I really enjoyed the AC600. As time went on, before I even started doing my reviews, I remember I was talking to a friend who had just bought a THX100, a friend back in New York, and I was talking to him about it, and he's like, why don't you go for like a planar magnetic if you want the bass and you want like the punchy bass and the speed and you want the mids. So I thought, okay, what are my options? So I looked them up. HE400i. Now the HE400i was my first planar magnetic headphone. I got it back. What I did was I ordered it on Taobao, the Chinese website, and they were selling it for the equivalent of, at the time, $230 for new. And I looked at that price, and I looked at the local price, and I looked at the American price, and I thought, wow, that is a deal I can't let up. So luckily my flatmate, who's from Beijing, where their factory is right next to, by the way, she went and she brought that back for me. I paid her in advance, and just incredible sound quality. Then I knew that I liked the bumping bass and the planar magnetic sound, along with the mids and all that. So I listened to that for a few months, and I did do a review of those before I sold them. So if you want to check that out, it's in my channel. Once I had that, I thought, well, I don't really need the AC600 anymore. And I am still a student. I still live in, which I'm about to move out of here soon, this dorm room kind of thing. So I can't have too many things. I already have 2 guitars and stuff, so I need to sell this to make up room. So I sold it to some guy who wanted to use it in audio making or something. I used a site called Gumtree, which is like Craigslist for England or something. So I used that and I sold them. And I do kind of regret selling them sometimes because they're really good. I remember how they sound, so I can compare it to things. But it would have been nice to have like a back and forth comparison, like the AC600 versus the whatever. But I would recommend that to anybody who wants to get into audio. It could be your first great headphone purchase if you can get it on sale and like 200, maybe even less. So once I went to Hi-Fi Man, I heard about ZMF, and I liked the wooden cup design. I liked how Zach was running the company. I liked how the mindset of his towards the tuning, musical tuning he calls it. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go for that. So I found a used vibro from a guy in Poland, and I bought that. That was my first review. And from then on, everything I've had since, you can see on my videos, has been documented with all my thoughts intact. That is how I started with headphones, basically. So, you guys have shared the whole experience with me, 500 of you. So thank you for that. Future plans, I plan on moving out of here in the next few days. I plan on finishing my damn dissertation, which is literally the reason why, the reason why my videos have been so long recently is because what I used to do when I was actually streamlining them to be a fast talked, like a shorter review, is what I would do is I'd post them at the same time as I posted my full length review, written review. I haven't had the time to do a written review recently for like a month. Ever since the AKG K7XX review, haven't had time to write down a single word of a review. So what I do is, my thing is I like to get all the detail out there. That's my mindset. So I kind of, without realizing, and I cram it into my video reviews so they tend to get longer, because I really want people to know what I want to say about them and what I think. And if I can't have it in written format, then I have to say it, so it takes a longer time. So yeah, I should be better about that in the future. When I have more time, I'll be going back to writing. I'll be catching up with the AC800 written review and all those reviews first. So that is my plan for that. I also had a plan to review fragrances. These are the 3 ones that I have right now. So you have CH for Man by Carolina Herrera. You have Fahrenheit by Dior. This is like a very, very old school one, right? This is like about as old as I am, or maybe even a bit older, from the 80s. So it has a really old-fashioned kind of diesel-like, musky scent. And my favorite fragrance of all time, La Nuit de l'Homme by Yves Saint Laurent. This is the perfume version. I fell in love with this when I smelled it at Sephora way back in 2011, the Eau de Toilette version. And since then, it's been my favorite. I really want to talk about these fragrances, but I have no idea how to put it into words, especially compared to all the other fragrance reviewers out there. One particularly I watch is Jeremy Fragrance, who you can see he's really passionate about this subject. It's like how I'm passionate about headphones. So that's his niche. Headphones and audio stuff is my niche. But maybe someday, just for fun, I'll talk about these someday. And I've been doing my guitar reviews. I have one guitar review left, which when I have time I'll do that. It's of my electric guitar that I've had since 2007, an ESP Kirk Hammett Metallica signature. And I'd love to talk about that with you guys and tell you guys what I think. And you must know that I love it if I've had it for like 9 years now. Exactly 9 years almost. So that has been my vlog, I guess. Thank you guys once again. Thank you for checking out my reviews. And I hope the channel will continue to grow so I can get my word out there a bit more. And thank you for watching this video, even though this has also gone on for a bit. And I'll see you in the next one.